After the aloof female CEO went blind, I walked around bare-chested in front of her every day, sometimes even completely naked. The woman sat on the sofa, calm and silent, but her ear tips were always flushed, and sometimes she would inexplicably get a nosebleed. Until later, she cornered me against the wall and said, "Husband, I really can't hold back." It was all because I had transmigrated into a novel, becoming a top-tier rich second generation, but ultimately destined to be a stepping stone for the protagonist. To change the fate of being a dog who loses his family and dies, I decisively chose to ally myself with the blind villain, the aloof Langqing Chu. Faced with my relentless pursuit, the female CEO, who was focused solely on revenge, had no choice but to agree to be my wife to prevent me from going to extremes and to satisfy my various small requests. After receiving the original owner's memories, I was speechless. Fortunately, while transmigrating, I also awakened the cosmic pure love system. As long as I performed acts of pure love, I could redeem various items for self-protection. With a clear plan, an idea immediately formed in my mind. Among the villains in this book, I was just a minor figure. The real mastermind was a blind actor, and the one who ultimately killed the female CEO was also him. Only the protagonist remained, and he eventually died with the villain, claiming things like friendship and not letting down partners. Then, a flood of information about Langqing Chu and the Lang family rushed into my mind. The Lang family was once powerful, and the GU family, which I belonged to, was also a top-tier family in Shanghai City. 5 years ago, a mysterious massacre almost wiped out the Lang family. It was this hatred for the extermination of her clan that turned Langqing Chu into a cold-blooded, vengeful major villain. Thinking this, the corners of my mouth curled up slightly. If I could now cling to the ultimate villain's thigh, I could at least survive until the end, and also complete the pure love system missions. So I immediately called my mother. "Mom, I remember Grandpa set up an engagement with the Lang family, right? I figure I'm not getting any younger, so I want to try getting along with her." As soon as I finished speaking, Sumerong exclaimed in surprise, "Son, what did you say? Are you giving up on Shenwan?" My mother was quite shocked by my words, because the original owner had previously sworn not to marry anyone but Shenwan, and had even argued fiercely with his parents over it. I righteously explained, "Mom, Shenwan doesn't like me. Why force it? It's better to settle down early. So can you please talk to the Lang family?" Hearing this, my mother excitedly clutched the phone and patted her chest, agreeing instantly. "Don't worry, son. Since it was an engagement set by your grandpa, it's only right for us to propose marriage." After hanging up, Su Morong excitedly ran to my father and said, "Tianming, this is great. Our son has finally let go of Shenwan. Remember the engagement the old man set with the Lang family?" However, Gu Tianming was stunned when he heard this. "Oh no, the person for that Lang family engagement is blind." Su Morong, realizing this fact, also panicked. "No way. Our son just moved on from one Shenwan and now he's getting involved with a disabled person?" Gu Tianming sighed, "Forget it. Knowing his personality, once he finds out the woman is blind, he definitely won't agree to this marriage. We'll just give the Lang family some compensation later." 3 days later, at the Lang residence, a woman with her eyes closed sat at a desk, radiating a fresh and elegant aura. Although she could not see the colors of the world, her beauty was unaffected. This was the eldest daughter of the Lang family, Langqing Chu. To make the hidden enemies relax their guard, she did not hesitate to destroy her own eyes and become a cripple. 5 years. Has it really been 5 years? Just as Langqing Chu was murmuring to herself, a girl with dyed yellow hair ran in. Without looking, Langqing Chu knew who had arrived. She calmly continued to feel the book's pages, asking without turning her head, "Linger, what's wrong?" Lang Linger was the second daughter of the Lang family, and Langqing Chu's younger sister. However, upon entering the study and seeing Langqing Chu, her angry expression instantly softened. "The GU family is too much." Langqing Chu sighed, "What about the GU family? They shouldn't have any connection with a small family like ours, right?" As she said this, her heart was filled with intense murderous intent. Although the GU family had no solid proof of involvement in the events of that year, they were still among Langqing Chu's suspects. Lang Linger didn't notice her sister's anomaly. She said helplessly, "Oh, but they are connected. The GU family and grandpa made an engagement back then. Now that GU family young master is preparing to come and discuss this marriage. And the fiancé is you, sister. After the words fell, Langqing Chu fell silent. Now, things were different. The Lang family was no longer the Lang family of the past. Lang Linger complained unhappily. I don't want you to marry. You're my only sister. Langqing Chu found Lang Linger's words amusing. Don't cry. The GU family's young master is not here to marry me. If I'm not mistaken, the so-called young master GU is here to call off the engagement. With that, Langqing Chu's heart was calm. Since the family incident and destroying her own eyes, she had no interest in romance. She understood that her only path in this life was revenge. On the other hand, Lang Linger became even more upset upon hearing this. You mean he's here to break off the engagement? Darn it, just a mere male nobody. Langqing Chu sighed helplessly. All right, go wait downstairs. I wonder what kind of scene he'll make to break the engagement. Meanwhile, in the reception room on the first floor, Lang Xinan, the current head of the Lang family, sat restlessly on a side sofa. He nervously swallowed, looking uneasily at me. I was sitting on the sofa, smiling, my eyes fixed on Langqing Chu opposite me. Is this the ultimate villain in the future? Even though she's blind now, it can't hide her aura, which is like a flower on a high mountain. As expected, her beauty is moving. Langqing Chu's beautiful face was pale, and her red lips slightly parted. Young Master GU, I already know the purpose of your visit to our Lang family today. In fact, Langqing Chu had guessed my purpose. The GU family was one of the top families in Shanghai, and their young master GU Hao Chen was the #1 dog chasing the Shen family's daughter. He was here about the engagement, but he was surely here to break it off. Combined with his previous actions, it was highly likely he was doing it to gain favor with Shen Wan. At this moment, I was a little surprised. I didn't expect my mother to be so efficient. The news spread so quickly. But why didn't Langqing Chu show any signs of resistance? I had prepared many arguments. Now, I could only be direct. Since Qingqiu knows the purpose of my visit, things will be easy. After saying that, I instructed the white-haired butler behind me, old Gao, bring that out. Langqing Chu remained calm and composed. She had sworn long ago that her life was only for revenge. Whether the engagement was broken or not would not affect her state of mind in the slightest. Only Lang Linger was furious. Although breaking the engagement was what she wanted, she just felt very unhappy. At this point, old Gao had retrieved 2 documents. I picked up one document and handed it to Lang Xinan, who was sitting on the side sofa. I smiled and said, Patriarch Lang, please take a look at this document. Lang Xinan took the rather thick document, momentarily stunned. Why is the engagement cancellation agreement so thick? Then I placed a specially made document in front of Langqing Chu and gently said, Qingqiu, I know you can't see, so I specially made this Braille document for you. Langqing Chu was taken aback. Braille? This young Master GU knew she was blind and went to the trouble of making a Braille document to break the engagement? Then, she quietly reached out to touch the document on the table. However, the document was slightly out of reach of her fingertips. Seeing this, I quickly reached out, grasped her hand, and placed her hand on the document. The moment my palm touched hers, I clearly felt a tremor, and a mechanical voice echoed in my mind. Touch the pure love target, points +1. This scene was seen by Lang Linger. She immediately yelled, Pervert, let go. As the words fell, Langqing Chu also broke free from my hand. I waved my hand awkwardly. Sorry, I just wanted to help you. Langqing Chu said nothing in response. In any case, she wouldn't have to deal with him anymore. She took a deep breath, slowly felt the Braille document, and began to read. Time passed minute by minute. Lang Xinan was completely shocked as he read the document. He suddenly looked up at Langqing Chu, opened his mouth as if to say something, but quickly suppressed the shock in his heart. His eyes looked at me with disbelief. Langqing Chu had long figured out the meaning of the document. She slightly turned towards me and asked faintly, What does this mean? This document was not the engagement cancellation agreement they had expected, but an agreement for the transfer of a 5% share of the GU Group. The GU Group's market value was conservatively estimated at 1 trillion yuan. The value of this 5% share was immense. This would be a tremendous help to the current Lang family. Hearing this, I looked at Lang Choa tenderly. Cho, don't you understand? This is a small token, of my sincerity in proposing marriage this time. I own 10% of the group's shares, so I'm giving half of it to you, Qing Chu. After all, we will be family soon." Upon hearing this, Langqing Chu was stunned. She immediately stood up, her tone no longer as composed as before. She asked in disbelief, "Proposing marriage? What's going on? You're proposing marriage. Weren't you here to break the engagement?" Langqing Chu was completely bewildered. She was a blind person, so why would he still want to propose? And he even presented such a grand gift. Seeing her reaction, I also stood up, my tone extremely sincere. "Yes, marry me, Qing Chu. I will treat you well for the rest of my life." Langqing Chu still felt it wasn't real. So direct? But this wasn't about forever or not. She was internally resistant. How could she possibly talk about dating or marriage now? Moreover, the GU family wasn't completely in her safe zone. Ling Xingnan was also dumbfounded. "Young master, weren't you Shen Wan's dog? Why are you here for my niece?" Lang Linger also thought of this. She quickly stood up and shouted at me. "Pfft! You lying dog of a man! You were clearly pursuing Miss Shen before. How can you say you love my sister now?" Hearing this, Langqing Chu found a reason to refuse. "Young Master GU, if you are just looking for a replacement for Shen Wan, then I don't think we are suitable." Seeing their reactions, I took a deep breath and looked up at Langqing Chu. Even though she couldn't see, I still put on a sincere appearance. "No, you are not a replacement. Actually, ever since I learned that Grandpa had arranged an engagement between you and me, I've liked you, Miss Lang. It's just that you were the #1 talented woman in Zhanghai City back then, and I was just a rich and handsome playboy with no other merits. I felt I was unworthy of you, so I wanted to work hard to become worthy. But before I could, I heard the news that you had gone blind, Qing Chu." My voice turned sorrowful as I spoke. I was very sad and remorseful. I hated myself for not being by your side when you needed me most. I always felt afraid to face you. I felt I wasn't worthy to be your husband, so I sought to numb my heart through others. But the person I thought about every night before I slept was still you, Qing Chu. As I spoke, I walked to Langqing Chu's side, reached out and held her hand, my tone sincere. "No matter what you become, I love you. I will treat you well for the rest of my life." Langqing Chu wanted to pull her hand away, but she found my grip very tight. Moreover, his tone was extremely sincere, sounding genuinely heartfelt. Lang Linger's face turned slightly red as she listened. She stood up and scolded, "Pfft! Who would believe such nonsense?" Len Xinyan, however, was dumbfounded. He looked at me, so earnest, and was somewhat shocked internally. This kid, is he serious? He swallowed hard and looked at the silent Langqing Chu. Actually, no one knew one thing. The person pulling the strings behind the Lang family was his niece, Langqing Chu. Time passed minute by minute. Langqing Chu finally spoke. "I understand." Saying this, Lang Linger was stunned. "Sister, are you really going to agree?" Getting this answer, I finally let out a sigh of relief. The first step to avoiding the death ending was finally completed perfectly. I tightly held Langqing Chu's hand, excited. That's great, Qing Chu. I swear I will treat you well." Langqing Chu remained silent. Of course, she wasn't truly going to be my wife. Instead, she had a sudden thought. Since I was so deeply in love with her, even offering group shares, could she use the GU group to help her find the mastermind behind the incident that year? GU Haochen, you probably never imagined that I have another motive for you, right? Thinking this, the corners of Langqing Chu's red lips curved up proudly, and the corners of my mouth couldn't help but rise as well. Because the system notification in my mind was flashing wildly, and the rapidly rising points made me feel lightheaded. If I held Xingqiu's hand for 24 hours, wouldn't my points increase by several thousands or tens of thousands? Wouldn't I be able to empty the system store someday? Langqing Chu, although she already had a plan in mind, said, "But before that, young Master GU, can you please let go of my hand? I need to start reading," she said with a half smile. Although she had outwardly agreed to be with GU Haochen, it was all for the sake of using him. In her opinion, this young master was a pure love idiot who would be very easy to control. Therefore, she wanted to minimize physical contact. But what she didn't expect was that after confirming the relationship, This shameless man insisted on staying. Wanting to see what she usually did, it wasn't appropriate to kick him out right after agreeing to his proposal, so she had no choice but to let me come up to the study. Of course, during this time, I didn't stop using excuses to hold her hand, saying it was because I was afraid you can't see, so I'm helping to guide you. After hearing Langqing Chu ask me to let go, I reluctantly released her. Feeling him let go, Langqing Chu finally relaxed a little. She sat in her original exclusive seat, a hint of seriousness appearing on her face, her mind quickly pondering future plans. Seeing her not speaking, I gently called out, "Lang Lang." Langqing Chu ignored me and continued to contemplate. First, she would use Jiyu Haochen's love for her to gradually seize control of his Jiyu group through her own means. Seeing no reaction, I continued to call out, "Qing Qing. Do you know? I miss you so much every day." Langqing Chu was speechless internally and continued planning to secretly build up her strength and find the mastermind behind the incident that year. Seeing no reaction, I called out again, "Qiu Qiu, why aren't you answering me? I'm so sad." "This damn man!" Langqing Chu's train of thought was completely disrupted by me. She turned her head towards the direction of the voice. Although she couldn't see him, for some reason, she felt as if she could see an irritating face leaning close to her. And when I saw Langqing Chu finally look my way, my heart was delighted. "Qing Chu, I want to ask you, which name do you prefer? Lang Lang, Qing Qing, or Chu Qiu?" After saying that, I blinked at Langqing Chu. Although I was pursuing Langqing Chu for points and to survive, I had to admit that Langqing Chu's personality and appearance really touched my heart. It made me want to engage in pure love with her. Langqing Chu's mind went frantic at the question. "What kind of ridiculous names are those? I don't like any of them. You'd better leave quickly." Seeing Langqing Chu's silence, I was a little confused as to why she wasn't speaking, but the next second, I realized. It must be that Langqing Chu didn't like any of them. So I changed the name, King Ki Ka. Then how about I call you wife or baby? At the instant she heard this name, Langqing Chu's heart trembled. She quickly turned her head away, not letting me see the fleeting change in her expression. "This damn dog man. What kind of nauseating words is he saying?" Langqing Chu's face flushed. How can someone say such nauseating and disgusting words? "I don't like any of them. Just call me Qingju." Hearing this, I breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing Langqing Chu's strong reaction just now, I thought she was angry. But if she stayed in the study all the time, it would be difficult for me to take action. So I asked, "All right, King Q, do you have anything you need to do now? Or should we go out for a walk?" Langqing Chu's heart skipped a beat. Since she blinded herself, she had never left the house. After all, her only thought was revenge. Going out for a walk was too much of a waste of time. Time was the most precious thing to her. She immediately refused. "No time. I'm very busy right now. I need to read. Please be quiet." Then, she started reading the Braille book in front of me. Seeing this, I was not disappointed. She was currently a blind person, and a character who would become a major villain in the future. It would be unrealistic for her to genuinely like and trust me now. But there's plenty of time. I have enough time to improve her favorability, right? "Okay, I'll just watch you here, King Chu. King Chu, you don't know, but whenever I see you, my heart." Before I could finish, Langqing Chu turned her head towards me fiercely. I immediately understood and obediently shut my mouth, quietly sitting next to her and watching her. Langqing Chu had a terrible headache. Why is this dead man so annoying? Time passed minute by minute. I sat next to Langqing Chu, flipping through a book. Of course, I couldn't understand any of it. They were all in Braille. I looked at Langqing Chu, quietly tracing the Braille with her fingers. Has she been spending all these years like this? Constantly absorbing knowledge, growing stronger, accumulating power, and finally becoming the biggest villain? That's really impressive. Truly worthy of being my pure love target. Langqing Chu, noticing that she had been reading for a long time without hearing Jiyu Haochen's irritating voice, couldn't help but wonder, did this person leave? Thinking this, she softly called out, "Jiyu Haochen." I was about to answer, but my eyes quickly darted around, and the corner of my mouth slightly curved up. I held my breath. I deliberately didn't speak, and slowly stood up, backing away. Langqing Chu didn't get a response and thought I had left. A strange feeling emerged in her heart. Why did this guy leave without saying anything? She shook her head. Perhaps it was because the noisy room had suddenly become silent again, making Langqing Chu feel a little unaccustomed to it. Originally, her daily schedule, which involved absorbing knowledge, was now forcefully adding wife, baby, learning knowledge. PFF'd. Why was she thinking so much? Langqing Chu's face was slightly red. For some reason, the names I had used earlier popped up in her mind. No, I need to calm down. Langqing Chu felt she really couldn't stand such nauseating words. She wondered how that Jiyu Haochen could even say them. Thinking this, she stood up and walked towards the bookshelf according to her usual route. However, she miscalculated one thing. Because I was there, a chair had been placed not far away. Langqing Chu walked without any precautions. The next second, she felt something trip her. She instinctively cried out, and her body tilted forward. With her eyes unable to see, her heart was filled with panic. Seeing this, I quickly rushed over. Qing Chu! Thud! We fell to the ground. Langqing Chu fell into my arms. I almost couldn't help but shout, "Save the pure love target from a fall." Points plus 10. But as the system notification echoed in my mind, I suddenly burst out laughing. Langqing Chu, who was braced for pain, was stunned. She had been saved. That laugh was Jiyu Haochen's. Langqing Chu seemed to have realized something. Combined with that laugh, she slightly raised her head, looking at me expressionlessly. You deliberately didn't speak just to see me fall? Thinking this, Langqing Chu was a little annoyed. This wasn't some love idiot. This person deliberately wanted to see her make a fool of herself. Fine, you want to play games with me, huh? I quickly explained. Wronged, King Q. Didn't you tell me not to speak? So I didn't dare to. Langqing Chu, asterisk. Couldn't stand to hear my poor excuse, and immediately struggled to get up from under me. Let go of me, you bastard! I remained persistent. Qing Q, this is uncomfortable for me. Shut up! You deliberately wanted to see me make a fool of myself. Who cares if you're uncomfortable? She used her hands to push against my chest, trying to stand up. Just then, there was a crash, and Lang Linger anxiously burst in. I heard a loud noise. That pervert Jiyu Haochen didn't do anything to you, did he? As she spoke, she trailed off, speechless, because the intimate scene before her had completely stunned her. Her dearest older sister, the one who was always so intellectual in front of her, was now bracing her hands on Jiyu Haochen's chest, and her expression looked pained. Langqing Chu also heard the voice and turned her head slightly. Linger, come here and help me. Lang Linger instantly burst into tears. You still want me to help you? Sister, you've only been with this man for half a day. How could something like this happen already? I slowly put a question mark in my mind. Langqing Chu also slowly put a question mark in her mind. Realizing the misunderstanding, she quickly explained to Lang Linger. After the misunderstanding was cleared up, Langqing Chu remained silent, but was inwardly furious. Damn it! How could this happen? All the dignity I built up is gone. Lang Linger pointed at me, her voice choked with tears. So, to prevent this from ever happening again, you are not allowed to be alone with my sister anymore. I looked at my sister-in-law, whose eyes were slightly red, and nodded helplessly. All right, I promise you everything. I couldn't help but inwardly gloat. That's what she says, but my sister-in-law has to go to school later. King Chu and I can stick together whenever we want. After leaving the Lang family, I sat happily in the luxury car on the way home, opening the system store. The points section showed 60 points. This meant the love score between Langqing Chu and me had reached the passing line. In a restaurant on the other side, Zibai Wei, the daughter of the Shi family, looked in disbelief at the silent woman beside her, Shen Wanner. Wow, are you saying that bastard Jiyu Haochen hasn't contacted you in 3 days? Shen Wanner nodded silently. Hearing this, Wu Lili, the daughter of the Wu family sitting opposite them, immediately darkened her expression and cursed. What a jerk! It's just because you, Wanner, are focused on your career and refuse to be his girlfriend, so he's giving you the cold shoulder. What a petty man. She grabbed Shen Wanner's hand and earnestly said, Wanner, it's a good thing you didn't agree to that scum Jiyu Haochen, or who knows what he would have done to you. Shen Wanner bit her lip. Based on her understanding of me, how could I possibly give her the cold shoulder? She asked hesitantly, should I send him a message to ask what's going on? Shen Wan'er felt that maybe her previous refusal had hurt his feelings, and perhaps she should comfort him a little, as she had done before. This wasn't the first time this had happened, but as long as she took the initiative to call, the next day, Ji Hao Chen would eagerly rush over to lavish attention on her. When Si Baiwei heard this, she held down Shen Wan'er's hand, which was about to send a message. "Wan'er, that's wrong of you. Haven't you noticed the trick that scumbag Ji Hao Chen is playing?" Shen Wan'er was puzzled. What trick? She looked at Xie Baiwei and asked in confusion, Wei, what do you mean?" Xie Baiwei scoffed. "He's deliberately not talking to you, deliberately ignoring you to create a sense of crisis. This jerk is playing hard to get, and his goal is to make you apologize to him first." Wu Lili, sitting opposite, also nodded repeatedly. "I advise you not to fall for his trick. Men's words are the devil's lies. Excellent women like us must learn to discern the truth." Seeing her two best friends say this, Shen Wan'er's heart wavered. She suddenly realized, so that's it. No wonder Ji Hao Chen would be so happy when he didn't contact her for a while and she took the initiative to seek him out. It was all because he was playing hard to get. Thinking this, she decided not to bother with Ji Hao Chen and just let him entertain himself. 30 minutes later, I returned home. Unexpectedly, my parents had come home early for a change. Looking at the table full of dishes, I asked in surprise, "Dad, Mom, what's the occasion today? Why so many dishes?" My parents exchanged glances and then my father slowly spoke. "Szechuan, I know you're disappointed, but it's okay. There are still many other daughters of wealthy families. As long as you don't go back to Shenwan, everything else is negotiable." My mother put food on my plate and comforted me. "Yes, Xiaochuan, just like your father said, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Why obsess over a single flower? Your mother will find you someone better, like the Bai, Tang, or Zhuge families. Your father will take care of it." The more I listened, the more ridiculous it became. I quickly waved my hand. "Dad, Mom, what are you talking about? I've already proposed to Qingqiu. We're practically husband and wife. How could I go looking for other women?" My father hadn't fully grasped it and continued, "Yes, Xiaochuan, it's because Langqing Chu is blind, so you were disappointed and backed out. What proposal?" As my father spoke, he suddenly paused. "Wait, proposal? And practically husband and wife?" My father looked at me in disbelief. My mother's eyes rolled back and she almost fainted. "Son, you just got over one Shenwan and now you have a blind person. You're gonna drive me crazy." I smiled helplessly at my parents. Just then, a unique ringtone sounded. I took out my phone and instantly realized it was the special ringtone the original owner had set for Shen Wan'er's voice. My parents immediately became alert. They looked at me with some concern. Although I had said I didn't like Shen Wan'er anymore, who knew if it was true? Even though their son hadn't contacted Shen Wan'er for 3 days, now that Shen Wan'er was calling, they were actually a little afraid that their son would revert to his old ways. Indifferently, I pressed the reject button right in front of them, followed by blocking and deleting her number. "Don't look at me like that. I'm really not interested in Shen Wan'er anymore." My father was shocked. "Son, are you serious?" I nodded. "Of course. Dad, Mom, I'm truly turning over a new leaf this time. I'm ready to live a good life with Qingqiu. I hope you won't look down on Qingqiu just because she's blind. She's a good girl." My words made them realize I was serious this time. The look in my eyes was completely different from when I was chasing Shen Wan'er. After a long silence, my father burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha, whatever you want. It's just one more set of chopsticks at home anyway." My mother also nodded helplessly. Since Xiaochuan has already proposed, let it be. I knew my mother wouldn't be able to fully accept it right away, but I definitely wouldn't give up on Langqing Chu. Thinking this, I looked at her. "Thank you, Mom." My mother was a little disbelieving that her son would actually say thank you. A warm current flowed through her heart. Then I looked at my father and smiled. "Thank you, Dad. I was foolish before and caused you a lot of trouble." My father's breathing hitched. He quickly averted his gaze and said dryly, "It's good that you've changed now." But his heart was ecstatic. What kind of fairy daughter-in-law is this? How did she make my son so polite? Just for this alone, he accepted the daughter-in-law he hadn't even met yet. Meanwhile, at the restaurant, the owner smiled and held the bill, asking Shen Wan'er and the others, "Hello, young ladies. You've been here for an hour now. Could you please pay the bill?" He was inwardly disdainful. These three came hours ago, ordered a huge amount of food, and kept taking photos when the food arrived. But now that it was time to pay, they were all claiming they didn't have enough money. Xie Baiwei and Wu Lili nervously swallowed. They asked in disbelief, "Ji Yu Haochen, he hung up on you?" Shen Wanner looked at the disconnected phone with a strained expression. Maybe he was busy. She then looked up at her two best friends. "Are you really sure you didn't bring any money?" When ordering the food, Shen Wanner had asked if they were ordering too much, but the two had assured her it was fine and they could eat it all. Yet, in the end, they ate very little and spent all the time taking pictures. They looked at the bill, and it was 130,000 yuan. Xie Baiwei had ordered a 100,000 yuan bottle of red wine for a better photo atmosphere. Naturally, they couldn't afford a 130,000 yuan meal. That's why the two of them encouraged Shen Wanner to call Ji Yu Haochen. In the past, if Ji Yu Haochen knew he was paying for Shen Wanner's meal, he would have happily posted several updates on his social media. She never expected I would dare to hang up this time. Shen Wanner looked at the restaurant owner, whose smile was gradually fading. They definitely couldn't get away without paying today. Reluctantly, Shen Wanner called me again. "The user you dialed has been switched off." Switched off? Just because I called him, he actually turned off his phone? Shen Wanner's expression turned grim, and a sense of panic surged in her heart. The owner next to them was getting impatient. In desperation, Shen Wanner opened the LV bag I had given her and took out a small box. She looked at the box reluctantly. It was the gift I had given her when I confessed my feelings. She had only worn it a few times and originally intended to show it off to her friends. As the box opened, a beautiful diamond ring was revealed. Wu Lili and Xie Baiwei stared blankly, swallowing hard. "Wow, that's the gift Ji Yu Haochen gave you." Both of them were incredibly jealous of Shen Wanner. Although their looks and backgrounds weren't inferior to Shen Wanner's, why did Ji Yu Haochen only like this Shen Wanner? Shen Wanner nodded and handed the diamond ring to the owner. She spoke with reluctance. "Sir, can I use this to pay the bill?" The restaurant owner took it, and his eyes lit up. "A Tiffany diamond ring? Miss, are you sure you want to use this ring as payment?" The owner was overjoyed. His eyesight was quite good, and he could tell right away that this diamond ring was custom-made. Its high price was obvious. It seems the person pursuing this fake socialite is quite wealthy to be willing to give away something like this. Shen Wanner had no other choice now. Although she managed her family's company, that was company money. She didn't have that much cash on her. To leave, she had to pay with the diamond ring. She nodded. "Can we leave now?" Shen Wanner picked up her bag, her expression unpleasant, as today's events had made her lose a lot of face. It was all because of that Ji Yu Haochen. If he had answered her call and come to pay, she wouldn't have had to use her diamond ring. The restaurant owner nodded with a smile. "Of course. Welcome back next time." Outside, her two friends started chattering again. "Wow, that scumbag Ji Yu Haochen is going too far. He actually hung up the phone." "Exactly. You really need to give him a piece of your mind. He dares to ignore your calls today, and next time he'll dare to insult you directly. If you two ever got together, wouldn't he abuse you?" Shen Wanner's expression grew uglier the more she listened. She clenched her fists, her mood extremely foul. He used to be at her beck and call, but his actions today made her feel completely unsettled. She took a deep breath. "I think you're right. I won't bother with him again." The next morning, at the entrance of the Lang family, Lang Linger emerged, carrying a bag and yawning listlessly. "So sleepy, so tired. Why do I have to go to school?" After saying that, Lang Linger seemed to remember something, and her sleepiness instantly vanished. She looked around as if searching for something. When she found everything was as usual, she let out a sigh of relief. It seems that big pervert listened to me properly. Then, she rode her scooter spiritedly towards the school, riding off into the distance. Just 1 minute after Lang Linger left, the car door of a luxury car on the side of the road slowly opened, and I stepped out. Looking at the rapidly disappearing Lang Linger, my eyebrow raised, and the corners of my mouth curled up slightly. What a naive little girl! Then, I walked into the Lang family gate, as if returning to my own home. In the study, Langqing Chu was flipping through various books. Before becoming blind, she was the #1 talented woman in Jianghai City. Her IQ was internationally tested to be as high as 251. a staggering number that caused an international sensation. She even had the gift of photographic memory. It could be said that Langqing Chu was definitely one of the people destined to stand at the world's pinnacle in the future. Therefore, when Langqing Chu became blind, many people felt regret. Coupled with the fact that there had been no news of her in recent years, everyone thought she had given up and was preparing to live out her life alone as a blind woman. But this was all a deliberate illusion she created. The enemy was in the dark, and her goal was to also remain in the dark, using her talent to constantly absorb the world's knowledge and manipulate everything from behind the scenes. Moreover, after years of accumulation, she had already secretly built up a not insignificant force, and had even investigated a fraction of the truth about the incident that year. Langqing Chu was thinking too much, and the sides of her temples ached. Phew, time to rest for a bit, Langqing Chu exhaled. She leaned back slightly against the chair, raising her head a little to put herself in a slightly more comfortable position. What Langqing Chu didn't notice was that when she tilted her head back, I was standing right behind her. I swallowed hard, looking at Langqing Chu with her head tilted back and her hair naturally falling to both sides. Her lips were rosy, her breathing was steady, and her appearance was as beautiful as a celestial being. I couldn't help but stare in fascination. Since the study door wasn't locked, I naturally walked in. I was about to speak to surprise Langqing Chu when she suddenly tilted her head back. I initially thought I had been discovered, but as I continued to look, I noticed Langqing Chu's face was a little pale. It was likely because she had been overly exhausted in recent years and was constantly in a state of mental tension. Although the original novel didn't describe how Langqing Chu grew up after the Lang family was exterminated, all the responsibility and hope were placed on the shoulders of Langqing Chu, this gifted person. She had to search for her enemies and also prevent them from finding her and eradicating her before she successfully developed. She desperately tried to improve herself every day. Thinking this, I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. She was about the same age as me, yet she was already shouldering the burden of restoring her family. Langqing Chu hadn't noticed I had arrived yet. Her breathing hitched, and she quickly got up from the chair and rubbed her temples. She mumbled to herself, "I almost exceeded my rest time. Good, good." Just as she was about to continue flipping through the Braille book, she suddenly felt a comfortable sensation on both sides of her shoulders. A pair of large hands was placed on her shoulders, performing an extremely high-level massage technique. Langqing Chu was alarmed. Could it be that the enemy has found me? Just as she was about to struggle and stand up, a familiar voice rang out. "Ling Qi, don't get excited. It's me, your good husband." I held Ling Qi's shoulders down while explaining. Just now, I had spent 10 points of pure love to purchase the divine massage technique. As for why it was so cheap, it was because the system was so moved that I bought a massage technique for my pure love target that it gave a 0.0001 discount. Hearing the familiar voice, Langqing Chu relaxed a little, but her voice carried a hint of displeasure. "Who you are a good husband to has nothing to do with me. Let go quickly and don't disturb my reading." She was also secretly relieved. "Thankfully, it's just this idiot." I continued to smile and said, "Qing Chu baby, I don't like it when you say that. Who else would I be a good husband to besides you? And I'm not disturbing you, Qing Chu baby. Your shoulders are too stiff, so I'm just loosening your muscles and bones." At this moment, I kept one thing in mind. I had to be thick-skinned enough. Otherwise, how could I win over a beauty like Langqing Chu? Although I seemed like Langqing Chu's dog, I was, licking, the biggest boss in the original novel, so I should be called a werewolf instead. Langqing Chu's hair stood on end as she heard those intimate endearments. "Qing Chu baby! Exclusive massage technique!" Her heart was pounding furiously with shame and anger. She gritted her teeth slightly. You bastard! Don't call me that!" "Then what do you want me to call you, Qing Chu baby?" I continued to massage Langqing Chu's shoulders while speaking, simultaneously changing the subject. "Qing Chu baby, the stiffness of your shoulders shows that you've been sitting at your desk reading. Reading these Braille books will take a toll on your body, so look where I'm pressing now." Langqing Chu saw me trying to change the subject and immediately retorted, "I told you not to call me Q." But the next second, she couldn't help but let out a soft moan. Langqing Chu froze, and a blush spread across her beautiful face at a visible speed. She immediately covered her mouth with her hand. "What's going on? Why did I make that sound just now?" Langqing Chu's chest slightly rose and fell. She now realized that with my massage, her normally somewhat cold body was gradually warming up. Her shoulders were also becoming comfortable. Langqing Chu looked slightly behind her. She knew I was standing there. He really knows how to massage. Her tone was filled with a hint of disbelief. She didn't know what expression was on her face right now, or if there was anything unusual, but my technique was making her feel somewhat ecstatic. I looked at Langqing Chu. Her small face was slightly red, but she probably didn't realize how she looked right now. I quietly lowered my head, brought my face close to Langqing Chu's ear, and whispered, "Yes, Qingqiu, do you believe me now? I specially learned it for you." Langqing Chu's heart was thrown into confusion by the heat of Jiyu Haochen's breath. She quickly turned her head and sat up straight, her tone forced into calmness. "Don't get so close to me. Our relationship isn't that good yet." I smiled slightly, taking my hands off Langqing Chu's shoulders. Noticing the sudden disappearance of the comfortable feeling, Langqing Chu subconsciously pouted and mumbled, "Why did you stop?" But then she suddenly realized that she needed to use Jiyu Haochen, and she couldn't appear weaker than him. So she let out a soft sniff and sat up straight again. "Finally realize the nature of our relationship? If you know, then go back quickly." But the next second, I reached out again, pulled Langqing Chu back, and chuckled. "Don't rush, Qingqiu. I finished your shoulders now. Next is the head massage." Langqing Chu pretended to struggle for a moment. "Let go. I don't want your hands touching me." I knew that when girls say no, they mean yes, so I massaged even more vigorously. "No, I'm gonna massage." Hearing this, Langqing Chu stopped resisting, as if she couldn't break free and was submitting to the law right there. At the same time, she sneered inwardly, "He-hey, Jiyu Haochen. Jiyu Haochen? I admit your massage is somewhat comfortable, but you've miscalculated. I'm going to use your massage to restore my mental and physical condition, and then, in a more perfect state, take control of your Jiyu family. Hey, you brought all this upon yourself." Thinking and thinking, Langqing Chu gradually relaxed, fully enjoying my massage, and the corners of her mouth slightly curved up. Massaged the pure love target, points +5. Made the pure love target feel comfortable, points +10. The rise in system points also made the corners of my mouth rise uncontrollably. A long-lost smile appeared on Langqing Chu's cold face, as if she was having a beautiful dream. This feeling hadn't been felt for a long time. She even dreamed of her father and mother. Dreaming? Suddenly, Langqing Chu's eyebrows slightly furrowed. She abruptly sat up straight, covering her head, her heart full of annoyance. Damn it, how did I fall asleep? How could I be so lax? What happened before I fell asleep? Langqing Chu searched for her cane while recalling the scene before she fell asleep. She remembered that Jiyu Haochen was massaging her earlier. She hadn't expected that she would fall asleep so comfortably while being massaged. Truly hateful. To actually fall asleep because of that man's low-level massage technique. Langqing Chu cursed under her breath, her face full of reluctance. Based on the current room temperature, she could tell that the time had already reached the afternoon. She had wasted so much precious time. Just then, a cane was placed in the palm of Langqing Chu's hand, and a teasing voice followed. Hey, talking about that man's low-level massage technique, your good husband will be very sad. Qingqiu, the fact that you slept so soundly, doesn't that prove that my massage skills are excellent? Hearing the voice of this dog man, Langqing Chu's face turned cold. She tightly gripped the cane, stood up from the sofa bed, and turned her head towards the direction of the voice, emphasizing with a cold face, "Don't be narcissistic. I didn't fall asleep because of your massage. It was purely because I was too tired from staying up late. Your massage technique is truly terrible." Seeing Langqing Chu completely unyielding and stubborn, I found it quite amusing in my heart. The system was constantly prompting, "Pure love target feels happy." Pure love target is so comfortable they lost consciousness. I, of course, wouldn't act like a stupid straight man in reality, so I sighed in disappointment. So that's how it is. I thought the massage technique I specially learned for you, Qingqiu, had actually helped you. When Langqing Chu heard the disappointment in my tone, she felt a slight twinge of reluctance, though she didn't know why. After all, she had stubbornly lied, and she still needed to use the Jiyu family later. That's right, I only can't let him feel despair and leave because I need to use the GU family. So Langqing Chu took a deep breath and said, "It's not completely useless. At least it was a little bit helpful." After thinking about it, she mocked me and emphasized, "Seriously, just a little bit. Don't misunderstand anything." Hearing this, I excitedly reached out and grabbed her hand. "Seriously, King Chu baby? Then how about I massage you every day from now on?" Feeling her hand being grabbed again, coupled with my sudden change in tone, Langqing Chu couldn't help but become very shy and annoyed. "Let go of me. Who gave you permission to constantly touch me? Also, change that nauseating name. It's disgusting." Langqing Chu was about to lose her composure. How can this young master GU, who was known as Shen Wonner's biggest dog, be so annoying? I nodded repeatedly. Yes, Qingqiu. I'll call you whatever you want. After all, we are family." Langqing Chu was a little exasperated. "Pfft, who is family with you?" I smiled and said, "But didn't you agree to my marriage proposal?" She retorted, That was an arranged engagement." I chuckled. "Doesn't the meaning of an arranged engagement mean that we were already an old couple when we were still babies?" Langqing Chu really couldn't see. If she could, she might not have been able to resist hitting me. This bastard is full of nonsense, not a single truthful word, truly hateful. For the sake of my great revenge, it seems I can only endure for a while. Thinking this, Langqing Chu took a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down. "Fine, say whatever you want. So can you go back now? It's already so late." Just as she finished speaking, Lang Linger's complaint rang out. "I'm so mad! The last math test results came out and I failed again!" Is that teacher targeting me? Also, didn't the two ants take a vacation? Who made dinner for us? Why do I smell the fragrance of food from the kitchen? Her voice got closer and closer, until it suddenly stopped near the study. I waved at her. "Welcome back!" Lang Linger pointed at me with her finger. You! Why are you here? Didn't you promise me you wouldn't be alone with my sister?" I looked back at her with a strange expression. What's weird about me coming back to my own home to see my wife? Which law states that I can't be alone with my own wife? Langqing Chu beside me slowly put a question mark in her mind. This man is truly shameless. Lang Linger's face flushed. She looked at me, then at Langqing Chu, whose hand was being held by mine, and stammered. "It sounds reasonable, but it's still wrong. My sister is my family, and you are my sister's husband, so I'm your sister-in-law. Then we are all family too." Lang Linger's thoughts became more and more confused. She decided to stop thinking, pointed at me, and threatened me with her cute canine teeth exposed. "Anyway, hurry up and leave. Otherwise, you'll get a taste of my taekwondo power." Langqing Chu secretly smiled in her heart. As expected of Linger, she's still on her sister's side. I shrugged indifferently. "It's fine if I leave, but can the two of you cook? My food is only half done." Langqing Chu frowned. "What are you talking about? Cooking?" As she spoke, she paused. "Oh right, Aunt Ya suddenly mumbled something about taking a leave of absence last night. So, the family will only have her and Linger for a long time to come." Lang Linger was also surprised. "The smell of food from the kitchen? Did you make it?" She looked at me curiously. "You, a young master, know how to cook?" Quote, "Naturally I didn't before. But don't I have the system?" I took Langqing Chu's hand, who was a little reluctant, but seeing that she couldn't break free, she gave up. I said with emotion, "I specially learned it for Qingqiu. I've wanted to have a scene like this for a long time. I cook for you at home, and when you come back tired from work, I give you a massage and a back rub. On weekends, we drink tea and enjoy the flowers in the courtyard, maybe even have a small outdoor barbecue." Lingai couldn't listen anymore. She forcefully separated my hand from Langqing Chu's and glared at me, complaining, "Hey, aren't you basically saying you'll be the house husband and have my sister go out to work and earn money? Are you even a man?" Langqing Chu also found it somewhat amusing. Why is this guy different from other men? Other men, to gain favor, always say they'll provide for you for life. Why is it the opposite with Jiyu Haochen? I pursed my lips and looked at Lang Linger as if she were an idiot. Isn't that obvious? My Qingqiu is so talented. If my dull brain goes out to earn money, I might lose the entire GU family fortune. So of course, I have to let my Qingqiu take charge. Lang Linger was rendered speechless by this statement. He's clearly praising my sister, but why do I feel so angry? And what's with my King Q? You two just started a relationship yesterday, okay? Don't act like you're so close. Langqing Chu was also amused by my words. The corners of her mouth curved up slightly. However, as soon as she thought about the possibility of this, Dogman, seeing it, she quickly forced the upward curve of her lips back down. Pure love target feels happy, points +1. Hearing the system prompt in my mind, I was delighted. Not bad, not bad. At this rate, the favorability between Langqing Chu and me will definitely increase. Thinking this, I cleared my throat. Alright, it's getting late. I'll continue cooking. Qingqiu, you read for a bit. I'll call you when it's ready. With that, I took Langqing Chu's hand and gently led her to the desk. Langqing Chu was clearly uncomfortable with being treated this way, and her eyebrows slightly furrowed. She said with a tone of resistance, I can walk by myself. Hearing this, of course, I wouldn't miss this opportunity for physical contact with a valid reason. I said righteously, no, it's fine if I'm not here, but since I am, I can't let Qingqiu have any accidents. What if you fall again like yesterday? That would be terrible. Langqing Chu was a little angry. You dare to bring up yesterday? Let go of my hand. After saying that, the embarrassing scene from yesterday flashed in her mind again. This bastard man! I led Langqing Chu to the desk, and only then did I reluctantly let go of her hand. All right, I've let go. I'll go downstairs now. Without waiting for Langqing Chu's reaction, I quickly left the study. Langqing Chu's chest was heaving up and down with anger. How can there be such an infuriating bastard? Such an annoying man? But this person was now downstairs cooking for them. The young master of the GU family is personally cooking. A peculiar feeling surged in Langqing Chu's heart. This smelly man not only massaged her, but also lowered himself to cook for the two sisters. Go away, don't let your thoughts wander. Langqing Chu took a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down. All this was done by Jiyu Haochen on his own initiative. She didn't ask him to do it. That's right, I can't have any ridiculous feelings of gratitude. Emotions are the biggest stumbling block on my path to revenge. Lang Linger, seeing her older sister deep in thought and looking quite pained, had a resentful expression. That hateful nobody, Jiyu. It's all because of your appearance that my sister is in so much pain. I'm so angry. Although you and my sister have an arranged engagement, and technically you're my brother-in-law, even though that's the case, Lang Linger was about to say something, but Langqing Chu interrupted her. Linger, go to the kitchen and help Jiyu Haochen. We don't want him to think that all of us in the Lang family are lazy and only know how to eat. Lang Linger's expression froze, and her mouth dropped slightly open. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, I looked speechlessly at Lang Linger, who was blindly stirring eggshells and egg liquid in a bowl. So this is how you're helping me out? Hearing this, Lang Linger got angry. She glared at me fiercely. It's all because of a guy like you that my sister has changed. Saying this, she suddenly burst into tears, then angrily extended her small fist and pounded my chest. To actually make me help a man like you? I'll pound you to death. Pound you to death. The next second, her eyes widened slightly because I seemed to have put something hot and slightly large into her mouth. She instinctively began to chew. Instantly, an unexpected deliciousness exploded on her taste buds and spread throughout her mouth. Lang Linger's eyes lit up. She looked up at me in disbelief, asking while still chewing, Tea, this is what? It's so delicious. I pulled the chopsticks out of Lang Linger's mouth and rinsed them in cold water, saying, without looking back, spicy rabbit meat. Lang Linger nodded. So it's rabbit meat. Wait, rabbit meat? Lang Linger was shocked. She looked to the side in disbelief, only to see a cooked and plated spicy rabbit lying there quietly. Her eyes rolled back, and she almost fainted. I, who was washing the utensils, showed a mischievous smile with my back to Lang Linger. Hee, did the little brat realize the seriousness of it now? Time slowly passed. Lang Linger seemed to be sad and guilty because she had eaten the rabbit, so I didn't let her help anymore. Instead, I told her to go to the living room to watch cartoons. Lang Linger sat cross-legged on the sofa, glumly watching a gangster cartoon on TV. She hugged a pure, white giant rabbit plush toy, muttering into it, You bastard, villain, scum, jerk. How could you eat a rabbit that cute? Lang Linger's perception of me was once again refreshed. Just then, a voice came from upstairs. "I can walk by myself. Stop supporting me." No, coming downstairs is not a small matter. If I could, I'd want to carry you down. You don't need to carry me. I'm not a child, Ji Haochen. Don't be so dramatic. Hearing this, I looked at her with a smile and said, "Unmarried women are all children." Langqing Chu was tightly assisted by me down the stairs. She could even feel my warm breath and the faint scent on my body. He's a man, but why does he smell so good? No. To say that unmarried women are all children, that's absurd. I'm the real power behind the Lang family. To treat me like a child. When Lang Linger heard the voices, her face went pale. She quickly put down her plush toy and scurried out. With one glance, she saw me tightly holding and assisting her sister down. She immediately became upset. I asked, pretending to be puzzled, "Linger, why are you unhappy when you see your brother-in-law? Did I not feed you enough just now?" Upon mentioning this, Lang Linger got angry. She glared at me. "Pfft, what brother-in-law? How dare you mention that?" I waved my hand helplessly. "I didn't know you wouldn't eat that thing, Linger." Lang Linger said angrily, "Girls don't eat that kind of thing, okay?" Langqing Chu, on the side, was a little confused. Wait, what are these two talking about? Feed enough? That thing? Why don't I understand what they're saying? I waved my hand. All right, let's not mention what's past. After saying that, I helped Langqing sit down, then looked at Lang Linger, who was still standing. "Stop being so sulky, come and eat." Lang Linger snorted and sat down. It was only then that she noticed the rich variety of food on the table. She was momentarily stunned. The dining table was covered with all kinds of delicious food, colorful and emitting an enticing aroma. "You made all this?" Lang Linger looked at me in disbelief. She had left halfway, and she hadn't expected me to cook so many delicious dishes all by myself. The enticing aroma filled her nostrils, and she couldn't help but swallow. "That's right. I told you I specially learned it for Qingju." After answering Lang Linger's question, I smiled and looked at Langqing Chu. The bowls, plates, and chopsticks on the table were already set. I picked up a tender slice of roasted duck from the plate and gently placed it in Langqing Chu's bowl. "Qingqiu, try this. I promise it will be your favorite tonight." My voice was gentle and affectionate, my eyes full of warmth and love. Although Langqing Chu couldn't see my expression, she could hear the sincerity in my tone. A ripple stirred in her heart. Whether it's good or not, I'll know once I try it. Langqing Chu gently hummed, then held the bowl and picked up the roasted duck with her chopsticks, slowly putting it into her mouth. The moment it entered her mouth, the delicious taste of the food bloomed on her tongue, making her involuntarily straighten her back slightly, her breathing quickening a little. Her heart was somewhat shocked. How can it be so delicious? So good. I want more. Seeing this, I quickly asked, "How is it? Is it delicious?" Just then, the system prompted, "Pure love target finds the food delicious and is happy. Points +1. Langqing Chu finally spoke, her tone flat. So, barely edible." I saw through her, but didn't expose her, smiling. "It doesn't matter. There's plenty of food today. I'll introduce them to you one by one. There's bound to be one you like." Langqing Chu was slightly startled in her heart. She subconsciously swallowed, and her tone was no longer so stiff. "Then I'll try them." Next, I added food to Langqing Chu's bowl while introducing the dishes. I even mentioned the meaning behind some of the dishes, which pleasantly surprised Langqing Chu. She suddenly realized, so this dish can be made this way. This dish has this kind of story. There are so many beautiful things in this world. What is the Aegean Sea like? What does a pink sky look like? What are talking deer? Will I have a chance to see these things later? No, I can't think about these things. I can't let them mess up my plan. Just then, my voice came. "Linger, don't just eat the rabbit. Have some vegetables." Lang Linger glared at me and spat. "Puffed! Scum Ji Yu Hao Chen. Who gave you permission to order me around?" I looked at her with a smile. "Oh? Then I'm taking it away. Remember you said that rabbits are so cute, and you shouldn't eat them." Hearing this, Lang Linger shook her head. "Wait, I'll eat some vegetables. Don't take the rabbit away." Although she couldn't see the scene at the dining table, just hearing the sounds, Langqing Chu felt a sense of family warmth that she hadn't felt before. Why do I feel this way? I thoughtfully served Langqing Chu a bowl of chicken soup, took a spoonful, and brought it to her lips. "Qingqiu, have some chicken soup. Your body has been damaged by the years of exhaustion. You need to nourish it well." Langqing Chu snapped back to reality. "I can drink it myself," she said, feigning dissatisfaction, but still allowed me to feed her. "Damn it!" Her body instinctively leaned forward. Langqing Chu felt embarrassed. This was because I had been feeding her the entire meal, leading to this subconscious reaction. Why is he so good to me? Langqing Chu was incredibly conflicted and struggling internally. From her perspective, Jiyu Haochen was a good person. According to Leng Xinyan, the 5% of the Jiyu family shares that Jiyu Haochen had sent was already having a significant impact. In just 2 days, many corporations and conglomerates who had heard the news were approaching them to build connections and propose collaborations. Insiders could see that the Jiyu family and the Lang family were seemingly linked again, suggesting the Lang family was poised for a comeback. But it was precisely because of this that Langqing Chu felt conflicted. She was set on revenge. She was going to use Jiyu Haochen and his Jiyu family. When Jiyu Haochen learned the truth, how would he react? Would he be heartbroken or collapse? Did she deserve Jiyu Haochen to treat her so well? After dinner, I was in the kitchen humming an unknown tune while washing the dishes. Langqing Chu happened to walk in. Pure love target's heart is stirred by the host's song, points +1. Halfway through my humming, the system prompt suddenly popped up in my mind. I paused slightly. Just as I was about to turn my head, I heard a cool voice say, "You have a talent for that too." I nodded. "I'm very happy being with you." I suddenly felt inspired. Because my mind is full of youth, even fantasies of us sitting here and there. That's how I created this song. Langqing Chu's face instantly blushed. "Pfft, what, sitting here and there? Can you talk properly?" All right, it's getting late. Let's hurry up and finish." Langqing Chu spat and reached out towards the sink. Seeing Langqing Chu's movement, I immediately grabbed her small hand. "This is the sink." Hearing this, Langqing Chu broke free from my palm and said exasperatedly, "This is my house. Of course I know this is the sink." Looking at Langqing Chu, trying to help with the dishes, a warmth spread through my heart. I opened the other faucet. "All right, Ting Tu, you wash that side. I'll take care of the bigger pots and bowls over here." Langqing Chu nodded, then paused and asked, seemingly casually, "Aren't you going to continue singing?" I was stunned, then smiled. "Thank you. If you like listening, I'll sing for you forever." Langqing Chu was stubborn. "It's not that I really want to listen. It's up to you whether you sing or not." Then the kitchen was filled again with the godly singing talent I had just exchanged for. Since I was singing for Langqing Chu, the system was so moved it offered a discount. What neither of us noticed was that at the doorway, a young girl with a gradually stiffening expression was standing, Lang Linger. She looked at me, who seemed to have a light effect around me, as I laughed and chatted and sang while washing dishes. This made her feel like she was just a what? Lang Linger hugged her head and cried without tears. "How could this happen?" The sun had set. At the entrance of the Lang house, I said softly, "It's getting late. I'll head back now." Langqing Chu nodded calmly. "If you come over every time and cook so much food, then forget it." I chuckled. "I know you feel bad that your husband is so tired from cooking. I'll cook less next time." Langqing Chu was a little exasperated. I didn't say that. I'm just worried about the lifespan of my family's stove," she said, and walked straight into the house. I, however, shouted happily, "Qingqiu, I'll come over tomorrow morning." The response I got was a flat, "Suit yourself." The door closed, but in the place I couldn't see, as Langqing Chu walked, the corner of her mouth couldn't help but turn up slightly. Just then, an object rushed into Langqing Chu's arms, followed by a wail. "Sis, you've changed." Hearing Lang Linger's words, Langqing Chu showed a helpless smile. "What is it, Linger? How have I changed?" Hearing this, Lang Linger became even more heartbroken. "Sis, you have changed. Ever since that Jiyu Haochen came, you've been acting weird. Your eyes only have Jiyu Haochen in them. It's only been 2 days. I've become an outsider in this house." Langqing Chu realized that she might have neglected Linger because of Jiyu Haochen. She knew she shouldn't be like this. So she reached out and patted Lang Linger's back, comforting her. There, Sis hasn't changed. It's just that for the Lang family to rise again, we need the GU family's financial resources and influence. That's why your sister has to endure the nausea and talk to GU Haoqian. Lang Linger's head shot up, her face filled with happiness. That's great! Sis, I really thought you had fallen for GU Haoqian. It's fine as long as you haven't fallen for him, that dog man. Although he seems to have a little talent. His food is delicious, his singing is good, his family is wealthy, and he's quite handsome, but it's okay that you haven't fallen for him. Otherwise, Linger wouldn't be able to stay in this house. Langqing Chu patted Lang Linger's head helplessly. Don't think too much, Linger. How could I fall for GU Haoqian? And how could I not let you stay home? Alright, go take a shower, watch some TV, and then go to bed. Although Lang Linger had her sister's assurance, she still said worriedly, You absolutely must not fall for that nobody GU. Langqing Chu was silent for a moment. Linger, he is your brother-in-law in name now. You need to be respectful. Also, didn't you say you failed math? Come to the study after your shower tonight, and I'll tutor you. Ah, sis! Lang Linger was stunned. What is going on? After leaving the Lang family, I immediately started investigating the person named Xiaoling. In the original novel, Xiaoling was the male protagonist. He had learned how to use his arrogant smirk upon descending from Dragon King Mountain with a few old masters. Before leaving, the old masters gave Xiaoling a dragon-shaped jade pendant. That pendant represented the young master of the Dragon King Palace, a massive organization in the original novel, which was unfortunately destroyed single-handedly by Langqing Chu. Thinking of this, the corner of my mouth slightly curved up, as expected of my Qing Chu. Although I didn't know why Langqing Chu destroyed the Dragon King Palace and targeted the protagonist's group, at least it was good news for me. In the previous life, Xiaoling had chosen to intercept and assassinate the original host at night because he listened to Shen Wen'er, claiming that the original host deserved to die. He even ambushed Langqing Chu later, leading to her death in despair. Fortunately, the plot was still in the early stages, and I had enough time to implement some protective measures in advance. This time, I must protect her well. The next day, in the Lang house, Lang Linger was wearing pajamas, lazily brushing her teeth at the sink. I walked past her carrying a bag of groceries. Morning, Linger. Did you stay up late last night? You're a high school senior. You shouldn't be pulling all-nighters reading romance novels. Lang Linger subconsciously replied while brushing her teeth, Morning, brother-in-law. Then her eyes stopped. All her sleepiness vanished. She sharply turned her head to look, catching my back as I walked away. HMPH, nobody GU. Now Lang Linger didn't care about brushing her teeth anymore, and quickly ran to the kitchen. Hey, nobody GU, what are you doing? I was washing preserved eggs and glanced at Lang Linger. This brat, she ate so happily last night, yet she still acts like she doesn't want to see me. I motioned with my mouth, then turned back to preparing ingredients for breakfast. I'm making preserved egg and lean pork congee this morning. Lang Linger's eyes sparkled. She nodded happily. You're a nobody, GU, but you actually know how to do everything? I want extra shredded pork in mine. Wait, I'm supposed to be kicking him out. Hearing this, I gave her a side eye. Got it, brat. Go brush your teeth and wash your face quickly. You still have foam on your mouth. Can you act more like a girl? I pulled a tissue from the side and handed it to Lang Linger. Lang Linger looked at the damp tissue in front of her, then looked up at me. She was slightly startled, then snatched it. Her tone was flustered. Who's a brat? I'm already 18, okay? I'm an adult. HMPH, goodbye, nobody GU. I'm going to tell sis, Lang Linger said, running out of the kitchen. I shook my head helplessly. Suddenly, a scene flashed through my mind. The figure of a blood beast collapsed in a pool of blood, and a blindfolded woman, eyes wide with terror, rushed over from a distance. Sis, use my heart's blood to heal your eyes. I know that can restore your sight. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have provoked them. I'm sorry. If I remember correctly, this is Lang Linger's fate. Wait. I took a sharp breath. I think I know why Langqing Chu became the final supervillain. If that's the case, then for a long time I must keep an eye on Lang Linger. It's not for anything else, but to prevent that future tragedy. I want Langqing Chu to remain the final super boss, but I don't want it to be through the sacrifice of a family member. No, I must stop this tragedy. Thinking of this, my eyes showed a hint of determination. So, just in case, I exchanged all my remaining points for boosting my combat power and fighting skills. Just then, the system voice came again. Saving the sister-in-law and preventing the pure love target from collapsing in sadness is not entirely an unpure love act. This system is very satisfied. Upstairs in the study, Langqing Chu was flipping through a book. Suddenly she seemed to hear something, and the corner of her mouth curved slightly but was quickly suppressed. Then she turned her head towards the study door and said flatly, "I don't recall inviting you." Hearing this, the corner of my mouth turned up slightly. I don't know why, but hearing Qingqiu's tone didn't discourage me. Instead, it made me more addicted. I walked over, squatted down, and reached out to smooth Langqing Chu's hair. "You didn't invite me, but I remember telling you last night that you said, 'Suit yourself, Qingqiu. Besides, if I don't come, who will make breakfast for you two? By the way, Qingqiu, how did you know it was me?'" Langqing Chu noticed my action but didn't resist. She just said calmly, "Suit yourself can also mean refusal. Although I'm not averse to his arrival and even feel a slight happiness, I won't admit that I was anticipating his coming. As for how I knew it was you, the other senses of a blind person are more sensitive." I praised her. "As expected of our Qingqiu, I can only say 2 words about you." Langqing Chu asked with a hint of confusion, "Which 2 words?" I smiled and said, "Holy cow!" Langqing Chu stood up exasperatedly, reached out to me, and said flatly, "Let's go! Did you make preserved egg and lean pork congee?" This time it was my turn to be a little shocked. "You know that too?" She smiled slightly. "Yes, I can calculate it." I was a little unconvinced. "No way, is that true?" Langqing Chu nodded. "Linger ran upstairs and told me." I was shocked again twice. "Qingqiu, you can make jokes like that too?" Hearing this, the corner of her mouth turned up slightly. Although I couldn't see her expression, it must have been very amusing. Just as she was about to speak, I said, "Then, my great wife, Qingqiu, do you know what I want to do next?" Langqing Chu was slightly startled. Her mind raced. What does he want to do? Before she could finish her sentence, she felt her feet leave the ground. She distinctly felt her legs and back being supported. She was being held by Jiyu Haochen in a princess carry. Langqing Chu was forced into my embrace. Her heart started racing, and her body began to struggle. "What are you doing? Let go! What if Linger sees us?" I naturally wouldn't miss this opportunity, so I held her tighter and said affectionately, "Wife Qingqiu, why are you so stingy? I can't even hug you once. How are we going to have children later?" Langqing Chu became even angrier when she heard this. She immediately extended her small fist and punched my chest. "You jerk, let go of me! Who wants to have children with you?" But the more she struggled, the more excited I became. "I won't let go. I'm going to carry you to the dining table." But just as I was about to carry her out of the room, I saw Langqing Chu lower her head and stop talking. So I quickly put her down and started apologizing and coaxing her. "Qingqiu, I'm sorry. I was wrong. The next second, Langqing Chu raised her head, a hint of triumph in her smile, and held up 2 fingers. "It's 2-1 now. 2-1? I was stunned, then suddenly understood. I shook my head with a self-deprecating laugh. Hearing my laughter, Langqing Chu also couldn't help but laugh. "Do you know the price of bullying me now?" Hearing this, I took Langqing Chu's hand and smiled. I know, I'm scared of you. Let's go." Langqing Chu pretended to struggle, but it only lasted for half a second. She then acted as if she couldn't break free and nodded. At the dining table, Lang Linger ate without enthusiasm because I was holding a spoon and feeding Langqing Chu bite by bite, all while constantly uttering sweet nothings. "Qingqiu, is it delicious?" Langqing Chu replied seriously, "So-so, barely edible." "It is delicious, but I don't want to say it's delicious," I nodded. "Then I'll make it for you again next time." Langqing Chu was displeased when I said this. "Does that mean you know I like eating it?" She emphasized, "The meaning of so-so can also be not delicious." I smiled. "But you seem to really like it." Langqing Chu asked smugly, Heh, what illusion makes you think I really like it? Hearing this, I thought for a moment, then chuckled. Maybe it's because you lick your lips every time you finish eating. Langqing Chu was surprised. What? That happens? Damn it. Instantly, her ears turned slightly red. She then threw a punch at my thigh. Go away. Seeing this, I grasped the hand that was punching my leg. Haha, Qing Chu, I love you so much, Langqing Chu said in annoyance. Don't say such nauseating things while eating. This scene made Lang Linger clench her teeth and bite her spoon. Damn it, damn it. That lowly nobody GU is doing this and that with my sister right in front of me. That hateful bastard. Lang Linger couldn't tolerate the current situation, especially after learning last night why her sister had to pretend to be so close to GU Haochen. It turned out that everything was for the Lang family. Her elder sister was enduring humiliation, pretending to be in love with GU Haochen, and then, at the right moment, would snatch the GU family's assets, allowing the Lang family to return to its peak. My elder sister is so pitiful. She's making such a sacrifice for the Lang family. Lang Linger felt like a terrible person. She knew her sister hated GU Haochen, and that her sister was enduring humiliation and putting up a false front for the sake of the Lang family. Yet, she was powerless. She could only watch her sister being subjected to this and that by GU Haochen. The thought of this made Lang Linger's heart bleed. If she could take her sister's place and endure all of this, she would be willing. I'm full, I'm going to school. Lang Linger couldn't stand the heart-wrenching scene before her anymore, so she left, suppressing her grief. Hearing this, I turned to Lang Linger. Wait, I'll take you to school. Lang Linger and Langqing Chu were both stunned by my words. Lang Linger, in particular, was very resistant. She snorted arrogantly. I don't want you to take me. I'm taking my Overlord King to school. The Overlord King? You mean that small scooter? I asked. I had seen a gaudily decorated electric scooter parked at the Lang family's gate. Lang Linger said proudly, What small scooter? It's called the Overlord King. I'll have you know, the Overlord King can go up to 140 kilometers per hour. I spoke seriously. That small scooter is very dangerous, and illegally modifying an electric scooter can lead to a fine and confiscation of the illegal equipment. I advise you to obediently take my car to school. Langqing Chu also nodded after hearing this. She asked emotionlessly, Linger, didn't I arrange a driver for you? Have you still been riding that illegal electric scooter to school recently? Hearing her sister's tone, Lang Linger's heart immediately panicked. Oh no, I accidentally let it slip. Helplessly, she had to tell the truth. She lowered her head, her tone as aggrieved as could be. I just wanted to save the family some money, so I dismissed the driver. I, standing nearby, leaned over and whispered in Langqing Chu's ear. She dismissed the driver and then used the saved money to modify the Overlord King. Seeing this, Lang Linger immediately got angry. She glared at me. Before she could speak, Langqing Chu faced Lang Linger and said coldly, Do you know how dangerous modified vehicles are? I forbid you to ride that scooter again. Then she turned to me and said, From now on, your brother-in-law will drive you to and from school. Langqing Chu was furious with Lang Linger. Why is this child so disobedient? I hired a driver for her, but she dismissed him and even modified some electric scooter. How could she do something so dangerous? She realized that she must have failed to properly discipline Lang Linger, allowing her to go astray. What if Linger gets involved with unsavory people outside? What if Linger starts dyeing her hair blonde or wearing weird clothes? The thought of this made Langqing Chu anxious. She subconsciously grabbed my hand. That's right, I can have GU Haochen keep an eye on her. Just as she was about to speak, I patted Langqing Chu's hand. I glanced at Lang Linger, who had dyed blonde hair, pierced ears, and was wearing strange clothes, and comforted Langqing Chu. I'll help you look after Linger. Langqing Chu breathed a sigh of relief, then sternly faced Lang Linger. This matter is settled. You are not allowed to refuse. Seeing that her sister was truly angry, Lang Linger gave up resisting and responded with a sad "oh" while lowering her head. I found this very amusing. Sure enough, to discipline a brat like this, you need the power of bloodline suppression. Outside the house, Lang Linger, with her blonde hair swinging and backpack on, followed beside me with an unhappy expression. At that moment, a Rolls-Royce stopped at the gate. Old Gao stood by the car door, opened it, and respectfully said to me and Lang Linger, "Young master, young miss." I nodded and patted the downcast Lang Linger. "Let's go. Don't be unhappy. Your brother-in-law is doing this for your own good. Modified cars are very dangerous. Do you want your sister to cry all day if you get into an accident?" Lang Linger knew that secretly doing this behind her sister's back was wrong, but she didn't want to admit she was wrong in front of me. Thinking this, she snorted. "Mind your own business." She slapped her backpack onto me, her expression feigning fierceness. "Carry this for me, nobody GU." I smiled helplessly. All right, whatever our Linger says." Poofed! "What, our Linger?" Lang Linger's expression was flustered. She hurriedly got into the car. That hateful nobody, GU Haochen, saying such nonsense all the time. Inside the car, I said to Old Gao, "Old Gao, to Jianghai High School." Then I leaned back and closed my eyes, beginning to think about the next part of the plot. I needed to confirm one thing. According to the original novel, Langqing Chu, Lang Linger and I were all on the villain's side. And there was a segment in the original novel that involved Lang Linger and the protagonist's group. Judging from the timeline, it was about time for that plot point to arrive. It was originally a small subplot meant to introduce Shen Wanner's younger brother, Shen Tian. Unexpectedly, the author was actually trying to introduce the biggest cannon fodder sister in the original novel, and this was what led to Lang Linger's tragic end later. I will not let that happen this time. On the other side, Lang Linger rested her right hand on her face, leaning against the car door. Although she was looking out the window, she was actually watching me out of the corner of her eye. What? That nobody GU is sleeping early in the morning? Oh, right. Considering he came over early with groceries, he probably woke up very early. If it weren't for this car, I would forget that he's a top young master. She couldn't understand why a young master of the GU family would willingly lower his status to cook for them. Does he really like my sister? Lang Linger bit her lip, her eyes flickering. GU Haochen truly liked her sister. But according to her sister, their ultimate goal was to seize the GU family's assets. What would GU Haochen feel when he learned the truth? Lang Linger couldn't imagine how devastated GU Haochen would be when the truth came out. No. Lang Linger took a deep breath, her eyes unfocused. Anyway, he insisted on liking my sister. That's right, he deserves to have the GU family's assets taken away later. Lang Linger secretly hypnotized herself. My voice broke in. By the way, Linger, I hear you like motorcycles. If you get into college this time, how about I, your brother-in-law, give you one? I had finished my thoughts. The most urgent task was to increase the sister-in-law's favorability a bit. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't tell me about any activity she was planning outside, and that would be disastrous. Lang Linger was stunned by my words. How did he know I like motorcycles? Seeing the stunned Lang Linger, I teased her. What? You don't want this reward? Or do you think you can't get into college? Lang Linger snapped back to attention. She turned her head away in a panic. Who can't get in? I'm just afraid you won't keep your promise. I waved my hand. Am I your brother-in-law who cares about pennies? Even if you don't like the ones on the market and want a custom-designed motorcycle, I, your brother-in-law, can have it delivered to you within a day. Hearing these words, Lang Linger's mind was plunged into extreme turmoil. Sister, can we find another way to get the GU family's assets? I'm having a crisis of conscience. Lang Linger thought, wanting to cry without tears. Time slowly passed. The appearance of a Rolls-Royce at Jianghai High School attracted countless attention. Which rich kid is transferring here? Oh my god, a rich person in this poor old neighborhood? Countless students stopped and discussed. Then I stepped out of the car. My gentle and amiable aura, combined with my strikingly handsome appearance, instantly shocked and delighted a large group of people. Under everyone's surprised gaze, I walked to the side door, opened it, and leaned down, saying something. After a moment, Lang Linger got out of the car. She snatched the backpack from my hand with an arrogant look, then glared at me fiercely. Don't be so ostentatious next time, okay? After saying that, she quickly walked towards the school gate. I looked at her retreating figure helplessly and shrugged. She was obviously happy. Such an unforthcoming child. I smiled and waved at the crowd that had gathered. Amidst the cheers, I got back into the car. The moment I sat back down, the smile on my face slightly receded, replaced by a hint of coldness. All right, it's time for me to nip the future plot in the bud. On campus, Lang Linger's feigned fierce expression turned into one of utter delight. Several classmates immediately surrounded her. "Sister Linger, is that your boyfriend? When did you get a boyfriend?" One girl exaggerated. "He's like my Prince Charming, driving a luxury car to pick me up, just like a princess." Lang Linger was very pleased to hear this, but also a little embarrassed. So she coughed dryly and said composedly, "He's not my boyfriend. He just insisted on driving me over this morning." The eyes of the others were even more envious and eager. "Sister Linger, you said that handsome guy isn't your boyfriend? Does that mean we have a chance?" Lang Linger slowly put a question mark in her mind. "Although Ji-yu Hao-chen isn't my boyfriend, when is it your turn?" Furthermore, seeing all these girls trying to find a way to become Ji-yu Hao-chen's girlfriend made Lang Linger very uncomfortable. So she snorted. "None of you need to try. He's my brother-in-law, and he's already married to my sister. And my brother-in-law and my sister are very much in love. Don't even think about him." She then secretly thought to herself, "I didn't expect that nobody goo's charm to be so great. It seems I'll have to keep a close eye on him for my sister, so he doesn't mess around outside." At this point, one girl suggested, "Hey, I heard that Xiao Wei's new boyfriend owns a KTV. Do you guys want to go singing there after school today?" Xiao Wei said that we, her friends, can sing for free. "I heard there's free fruit platter too." The other classmates all agreed readily. Lang Linger, being their big sister, naturally wouldn't object. However, before she got out of the car, Ji-yu Hao-chen had told her that he would pick her up in the afternoon. What should I do? "I don't care, I'll take it one step at a time." Thinking this, Lang Linger nodded. In front of Jianghai City's Xinhui KTV. I looked up at the magnificent KTV establishment. A scene from the original novel popped into my mind. It was a plot written by the original author to introduce Shen Wanner's younger brother, Shen Tian. The plot was about Lang Linger and her friends agreeing to go singing at Xinhui KTV after school. As soon as they arrived, they discovered that the, quote, sister who had invited them was being forcibly poured alcohol by Shen Tian. Lang Linger and her group immediately lost their temper and fought with Shen Tian. The commotion only stopped after the police arrived. Shen Wanner knew her brother's nature but didn't want him to suffer, so she went to the original host and asked him to find the girls and tell them to apologize to her brother. However, before the original host could find them, Shen Tian was found dead at home, his face skinned off. The memory ended, and I took a slight breath. I hadn't known before, but combining this with the later plot, I understood how Lang Linger's fate came to be. Shen Tian's death caused Shen Wanner to fall into a state of collapse. Just then, the protagonist of the original novel, Xiao Ling, appeared and stayed by Shen Wanner's side. After learning about Shen Wanner's tragedy, Xiao Ling was furious and vowed to find the murderer and take revenge for Shen Wanner. Shen Tian's death was highly likely caused by Langqing Chu, and Lang Linger's subsequent death was because Shen Wanner blamed Lang Linger for her brother's death. To avenge his companion, Xiao Ling chose to kill Lang Linger. No wonder the author specifically wrote a plot involving Lang Linger and Shen Tian in the original novel. It was to completely make Langqing Chu turn into a villain. But since I am here, this must not be allowed to happen. Moreover, I have already thought of how to prevent things from spiraling out of my control. Thinking this, I looked at old Gao, who was following beside me. "Let's go, old Gao." "Yes, young master." Old Gao nodded, then waved behind him. "Come, follow the young master in." The next second, dozens of people dressed in black suits stepped out of several luxury cars and followed me into Xinhui KTV. Meanwhile, in a private room, a young man, thin and with a face that looked drained by debauchery, was casually holding a girl who looked like a student, her brows furrowed and her face full of resistance. She hadn't expected that her new boyfriend would hand her over to a customer who came to sing. Shen Tian, seeing the girl in his arms trying to get up, looked at the KTV owner with dissatisfaction. "Boss, is this the service attitude of your girlfriend?" Hearing Shen Tian speak, the KTV owner wiped his sweat and turned to Xiao Wei. He didn't care if she was his new girlfriend anymore. and immediately stepped forward to coax her back. "Xiao Wei, why are you so senseless? If you serve this gentleman well, won't you get whatever you want? Do you know who Brother Tian is? He's the Gu family's young master's brother-in-law." The KTV owner looked at Xiao Wei with disappointment. Does this woman not know the value of the Gu family? As long as Shen Tian went back and put in a good word for him with the Gu family's young master, their Xinhui KTV in Shanghai City would be able to leap over the Dragon's Gate. Shen Tian was very pleased with the flattery from the people around him. He said proudly, "Did you hear that? I'm Jiyu Haochen's brother-in-law. If you make me happy today, you can have anything you want." Shen Tian was originally just an unemployed social drifter. He had accidentally learned that the Jiyu family's young master was pursuing his sister, so he often used my name to commit mischief outside. Of course, he personally looked down on me because of my subservient appearance in front of his sister, which made him think that young masters of big families were nothing special. Moreover, whenever he ran out of money, he would come to me for it. I would always give him hundreds of thousands or even 1,000,000 yuan out of respect for Shen Wan'er, which was enough for him to live lavishly for several days. When Xiao Wei heard this, she looked defeated and lowered her head, giving up the struggle. Seeing this, the others all cheered. "Brother Tian is mighty! Brother Tian is awesome. I think even the Gu family's young master would have to respectfully call Brother Tian his elder brother." Yeah, I heard that the Gu family's young master is just a simp for Brother Tian's sister. However, the next second, the private room door was kicked open with immense force. Then, old Gao walked in. This scene stunned everyone present. Immediately, a group of men in black suits flooded in, instantly filling the entire private room. The faces of the people in the private room turned pale. They knew they had encountered someone they couldn't afford to offend. Shen Tian was so frightened that he collapsed onto the sofa. He stammered a plea. "Wait! I am Jiyu Haochen's brother-in-law. You can't do this to me." Old Gao merely sneered. "You can tell that to my young master yourself later." Before Shen Tian and his group could react, the men in black rushed forward and forcibly pinned them all to the floor. Shen Tian was extremely panicked. He hadn't expected Jiyu Haochen's name to be useless now. What's going on? Why is this happening? Before, whenever I ran into trouble, just mentioning Jiyu Haochen's name would resolve the crisis. Old Gao respectfully addressed the outside. "Young master, everything is handled." A voice echoed from outside, followed by the sound of footsteps. Shen Tian found the voice somewhat familiar. He looked up and saw a person he knew all too well slowly walk in through the doorway. Jiyu Haochen. "Jiyu Haochen!" Shen Tian shouted in shock. "Are these all your people?" After saying that, his face became extremely ugly. He felt like he had been played. I walked in calmly and scanned the people pinned to the floor. Then, I focused my gaze on Shen Tian. I walked over, and in the unbelievable gaze of everyone present, I used the side of my leather shoe to brutally kick Shen Tian across the face. Shen Tian roared in pain. "Jiyu Haochen, what is the meaning of this?" He looked at me in disbelief. I replied with a calm, cold tone. "What's the meaning? It means your good days are over, Shen Tian." I waved my hand, and a subordinate nearby handed me a document. I placed the contract in front of Shen Tian. "This document records the money I've lent you over the years, a total of 23.48 million yuan. If you can't repay it, you'll most likely be charged with large-scale fraud and spend the rest of your life in prison. Moreover, you've used my name to commit all sorts of mischief outside. The crimes you've committed during this time are also enough to put you in jail for life." Shen Tian was instantly dumbfounded. An intense feeling of disbelief surged in his heart. He shouted in panic. "What are you talking about? Jiyu Haochen, all that money was a gift from you." I thought for a moment, and then said flatly, "Every time you asked me for money, you added the word lend. I have all the chat records." Shen Tian was stunned. "No way, brother, you're so rich." I only said, "Lend to be polite. Why are you actually asking for repayment? And you're a rich second generation? Do you really need to talk about law with someone like me? Are you even calling the police? Can you have some class? Have you ever seen a pampered rich kid go running to the police and talking about the law?" Thinking this, Shen Tian stammered, "I don't have the money." I nodded. then stood up. "Oh, then you can go to jail." Shen Tian immediately shouted anxiously, "My sister has money. I'll have my sister repay the debt." Hearing this, I smiled inwardly. On the surface, I turned around calmly and said flatly, 3 days. Have Shen Wanner send the money over within 3 days. Otherwise, prepare to spend your life in the big house. Hearing this, Shen Tian thought he understood what I meant, and at the same time, he was extremely terrified. As expected, these people from big families are not to be trifled with. I thought Jiyu Haochen was really just a simp for my sister. But now it seems that, because my sister kept refusing him, he's lost his patience. No, I must get my sister to get together with Jiyu Haochen quickly. I don't want to lose this life I have now. Thinking this, he nodded repeatedly. I'll definitely get my sister to find Jiyu. I didn't say anything. I turned and walked out the door. Old Gao, you handle things here. Yes, young master. Old Gao nodded. He mentioned, young master, where are you going next? I waved my hand, leaving old Gao with my back turned. My voice followed. To make lunch for Qingqiu. In the Lang family study, a place that should only belong to Langqing Chu, there was now an additional blindfolded woman kneeling on one knee. Master, according to our investigation, one of the perpetrators has been found, the blindfolded woman said respectfully. Hearing this, Langqing Chu suddenly stopped her movements. A flash of coldness crossed her brows. She abruptly raised her head and stood up, her heart filled with an eagerness to kill. The book she had been holding was slammed shut, letting out a dull thud. She looked at the blindfolded woman, her tone revealing a profound killing intent. Tell me who it is. Langqing Chu's heart was filled with murderous rage and impatience. 5 years. The truth of that massacre is finally making some progress. Although it's only one of the people who participated in the massacre, it at least means she's one step closer to finding the real culprit. The blindfolded woman immediately lowered her head and replied, It's a member of an organization called the God of Death. His name is Lin Feng. Lin Feng? Who is that? What kind of power is the God of Death? Langqing Chu took a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down. The blindfolded woman knew the importance of this matter, so she had already investigated everything thoroughly. Reporting to Master, when we investigated Lin Feng, he already had a family. He himself is in Jianghai City. Hearing this, Langqing Chu forcibly slowed down the murderous rage in her heart. Monsieur. Langqing Chu's voice was low and full of killing intent. Find Lin Feng. Interrogate him for all useful information. Use any means necessary. I want all the information he knows. Langqing Chu's tone revealed a chilling indifference that sent shivers through the entire study. Mishu swallowed. Cold sweat ran down her face. She quickly lowered her head and replied, Yes. As her voice fell, the ground beneath her feet began to show black shadows, and Meijie slowly melted into the shadows. A moment later, Langqing Chu finally slowly emerged from the killing intent. She took a deep breath, and her heart gradually became calm, but sorrowful. I never thought that the murderers back then would be living freely. Mom, Dad, Grandpa, Grandma, Qingqiu, I swear I will find the truth for you and avenge you, just with this dagger that slashed my eyes back then. As Langqing Chu thought, a dagger slowly materialized in her palm. The dagger had many ancient mysterious runes engraved on it. This was the dagger Langqing Chu had used to slash her own eyes back then. Just as it cut her, a memory flooded into Langqing Chu's mind, the dagger's name, which was also the name of an ancient book. That ancient book was in Langqing Chu's mind. It not only strengthened her memory, but also improved her comprehension, and let her know that there was an existence called the ancient martial world. Thinking this, Langqing Chu slowly touched her eyes. She slightly opened them. Unlike the usual image of a blind person, there were strange runes imprinted on Langqing Chu's 2 pupils, as if deliberately sealing her sight. According to the memory in Langqing Chu's mind, the power of this ancient book was extremely strange. Absorb the darkness, understand the darkness, become the darkness. Only by enduring 5 years of darkness could she become invincible upon the final restoration of light. 5 years? Langqing Chu muttered to herself. She closed her eyes. According to the ancient book, she only needed to endure 5 years of darkness. Then, the moment her sight was restored, She would be able to break through the human critical point and become an invincible existence in the world. Before that, she would remain an ordinary person. Fortunately, the memory in her mind had given her a lot of help and allowed her to inherit a power called karma. This power did not recognize people, only the dagger. The one who held the dagger was the master of this power. Thanks to this karma organization, Langqing Chu had been able to gather one piece of useful information after another over the years. Phew. Langqing Chu put away the dagger and exhaled. Getting this news from Mishue had indeed made her a little too excited. Langqing Chu, Langqing Chu, Langqing Chu, you will have more enemies to deal with later. You must be more steady and composed. Thinking this, Langqing Chu reached for her cane. If she hadn't miscalculated the time, it should be noon now. Linger wasn't home, so she would just grab something simple to eat. Just then, she didn't find the cane, but a strong, warm hand gripped hers. Then, the voice that startled Langqing Chu's heart appeared. "Qing Chu, what are you thinking about? Why are you standing by the window, spacing out?" I held Langqing Chu's hand with some confusion. Langqing Chu was silent. When did Jiyu Haochen arrive? What did he hear? What did he see? No, Langqing Chu was conflicted. The dagger was her biggest secret, and it was her biggest trump card for finding the murderer. She didn't dare to gamble whether Jiyu Haochen had seen her dagger and was pretending not to, nor did she dare to gamble whether the Jiyu family was involved in the incident back then. If Jiyu Haochen, Langqing Chu's breathing rate slightly changed. Her heart was in turmoil. Even though she was just an ordinary person right now, the power of the dagger was devastating. It would only take a moment. I, however, was a little puzzled and placed the back of my hand on Langqing Chu's forehead, checking her temperature. "You don't have a fever." Langqing Chu's heart seemed to have made a decision. At such close range, she was absolutely sure she could deliver a fatal blow, and then have Meishu dispose of the body. I have to do it. I must eliminate all potential threats. Thinking this, Langqing Chu slightly raised her hand.